Hi everybody, it's me Waddles. Have you found yourself alone, desperate, then looking for one of the easiest Enderman farms in the entire game? Well, good news. Great news. Today, I've got exactly the farm for you. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to build this insanely simple Enderman farm that I designed. This farm is compatible with Java Edition only. I'm sorry. This Enderman farm is probably the cheapest, easiest, efficient Enderman farm in the entire game. Before we get too busy, quick reminder to drop a like. Thank you, appreciate you. And let's move on with the tutorial. The materials to build this farm. I've been working on this, trying to get it as cheap as possible. Here we go. You're going to need approximately 18 stacks of building blocks. Yikes. It's a lot of building blocks, but listen, these things could be anything. It could be 18 stacks of cobblestone, 18 stacks of wood planks, technically. As long as they're solid, spawnable building blocks, you're going to be good to go. Also, for this farm, you will need 2 observers, 1 note block, 8 hoppers, 1 chest, some rails, not just one, but like a handful, a minecart, 2 pieces of carpet any color, and then 8 trapdoors. You will also need an ally for the item collection, an endermite to lure the enderman, and a name tag for that endermite. If we're talking getting an endermite, which we are, you're going to need enderpearls. And don't worry, if you don't have an ally in your world quite yet, there is a way around this. You can cut out those observers in the note blocks and replace them with like more hoppers. If you end up going that route, you're going to need like 25 or so hoppers. Your call. To build this farm, we're going to need to get on top of the nether. To get on top of the nether, ender pearls and ladders. Have a lot of those. And to get back down, you're probably going to want to break a block of bedrock. To do that, at least 2 TNT, 2 obsidian, 2 pistons, a trapdoor, a lever, and a torch to mark a block. I do recommend having way more than just that though, because this method, it can fail sometimes. And then some other things that aren't a bad idea to have. Maybe a way up and down onto this farm, like elytra and fireworks, but instead of that, you could definitely use building blocks and ladders. That'll work too. Extra trapdoors might make your build a little bit easier, and definitely, because we're going on top of the nether, bring backup obsidian and flint and steel so you don't get trapped. Getting trapped on top of the nether, especially in your hardcore world, it's terrible. So yeah. Our build today begins inside of the nether, but not just anywhere. We're looking for a specific biome, the warp forest. Nowadays, pretty much the only mob that can spawn inside of the warp forest biome is going to be the enderman. That's going to make this biome ideal for farming these things. First, to locate a warp forest biome. After you've found the warp forest biome, make your way all the way up to the ceiling of the nether, like a bedrock level. This is probably going to be a lot of building blocks, maybe scaffolding, maybe ladders, but either way, get up to the ceiling. You see, to set this farm up, and to set this farm up with good rates, we need to build it on top of the nether. On top of the nether, that's the part that breaks this farm on bedrock. Once you've made your way up to the ceiling of the nether, it's time to dig around. We're looking for a specific block of bedrock. We're looking for a block of bedrock that exists on Y127 that is also accessible to us, meaning we need to be able to reach the block or get like right below that block. Now, this can take a little bit of time. You might have to be patient. What I recommend doing is just set up a room at the top of the nether and dig around. If you use the F3 screen and check that chunk of information right there, targeted block, we're looking for a block that says 127 in the middle. Everyone's world generates a little bit differently, but I promise you, somewhere inside of your world will be a block at Y127. Bedrock breaking is a glitch. Sometimes glitches glitch. To make sure you have a way off of the roof of the nether, absolutely bring a flint and steel and at least enough obsidian to set up an escape portal. Also bring the supplies that you're going to need to break the bedrock itself. So now that I have all those extra supplies, 100% can't get stranded on top of the nether, we need to build up to this block right here. Now you've got 2 options. Right now in chat, you could write down the coordinates of your targeted block. Or you could just be careful. Place ladders climbing all the way up to this block, and then hold down the forward key, grab an ender pearl, and toss the pearl. If you toss the pearl, you should be able to glitch up onto this block. Sometimes it can take more than 1 pearl. We place a torch on that block right away because that's the block that we came through. That block is 1 block separating the top of the nether from the bottom of the nether. That's the block we need to break. So we can continue to use the farm long-term easily anytime we want, we need to remove a block of bedrock in our world. Now, there are tons of different machines that you can build to remove bedrock. This is one of my favorite ones right here. So the torch is the block that we want to get rid of. We're going to go obsidian, TNT, lever, trap door right there. Then we're going to go ahead and actually pull this out and put a piston. Then what we're going to do is go ahead and hit this trap door. This method of breaking bedrock involves basically glitching a block of bedrock away with a piston. To pull this off, we're going to need to be quick. We're going to want to hit the lever once, then we're going to hit the trap door. Then we're going to move over and try and spam place a piston on this corner of the obsidian block. So, here goes nothing. We go ahead and hit the lever, hit the trap door, move over right here as far as we can, and then spam place a piston, and hopefully it worked. If it didn't work, you got to try again. And this is where I recommend bringing extra supplies with you. If you bring extra supplies with you, it's no big deal. You can try this out a couple times. Hopefully, eventually it works. Try number 2. Let's go ahead and go again. We'll move over here and spam place of piston again right there. And this time it worked. There we go. Bedrock completely broken. This is never going to come back. Now we can go up and down anytime we need. What I recommend doing is placing a ladder in this hole so you can go up and down, and then maybe placing a torch and write down these coordinates. You don't want to lose this hole. Now that we've broken our way up onto the top of the nether, it's time to actually set up the build. So this build has a footprint of about 33 by 33 blocks. All of those 33 blocks need to be inside of the warp forest biome. In other words, before you set this build up, make sure you are entirely inside of the warp forest biome. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Aside from taking them out yourself, the easiest and most consistent way to take an enderman out every single time is going to be fall damage. If we want to take an enderman out with fall damage, we need to drop it more than 43 blocks. The main spawning platform of this farm should sit at Y180. The farther we can get away from the lower part of the nether, the better. We want spawns isolated on this platform. By setting the base of this farm up at Y180, that's going to guarantee that every single time we drop an enderman off at this platform, it's done right away. One thing to keep in mind with this build today is because we're going to be really high up in the air, you might want to way up and down. Maybe while you're building, place ladders so you can get up and down, and maybe do scaffolding, maybe just have a light show. Either way, 180. We start here. Once you've made your way up to 180, it's time to build out from this middle spot. This is going to be the middle block of our farm, basically. What we're going to want to do is build 2 blocks out in one direction, doesn't matter at all. Then go ahead and remove those 2 blocks. Then what we're going to go ahead and do is start building a floor. Now this floor needs to be built out of spawnable blocks. These spawnable blocks can really be almost anything. You could do planks, you could do cobblestone, you could do netherrack. It really doesn't matter at all. Enderman will spawn on anything so long as it is a spawnable block. Keep in mind that we are in the nether, so maybe setting this platform up out of flammable things might not be the best idea, but you should be safe. We'll begin building our enderman spawning platform with a simple ring. In the middle, we have, well, the middle, and then we have a 2-block gap all the way around this thing. Then we have the start of the spawning platform. Imagining this block right here is 1 and this block is 2 right there. This is going to be 3, then 4, then 5, and so on. We need to build all the way out to 16 in this direction. 16. That's going to be 16 right there. Then what we're going to want to do is go ahead and copy that on every other side as well. While you're up here building this thing today, endermen shouldn't start spawning quite yet because you're too close, but if you're nervous about that, remember that you could use light to block their spawns. Go ahead and build out 16 blocks in every single direction from that middle block on Y180. Don't worry about filling this platform in quite yet, we'll do that later. Before we fill it in, let's get the endermite in. The endermite needs to sit 1 block higher on Y181, and it needs to sit in the middle. Now, admittedly, this might be the trickiest part of today's build. This can take a little bit of time. To actually pull this off, I recommend setting up some kind of temporary spawning box up here in the middle. Ender might spawn when you throw an ender pearl sometimes. You might need extra ender pearls to actually pull this off. Great news for you, remember you're above the warp forest biome. If you run out of ender pearls, go back down into the warp forest biome and hunt the enderman until you have, like, I don't know, 16 or so ender pearls. Once you've done that, it's back up to the top and time for a little game. We're gonna go ahead and place some rails right there. You could go ahead and do 2 or 3, doesn't really matter. And then it's ender pearl time. We throw an ender pearl in here, we jump in there, and unfortunately, no endermite. Then we jump out of there, break that block, and do it again. You just keep repeating this process until eventually an endermite spawns. It's easy to get carried away. Don't forget to eat. You take damage when you throw the pearl. Now, just like with locating the bedrock block at Y127, this can take time. It's kind of a random chance thing. And I do recommend having the name tags on you named and ready to go when you're doing this process. As soon as an endermite spawns, we're going to try and trap it in a minecart and name tag it so it doesn't go anywhere. And there we go. There we go. Actually, we have an endermite. That's amazing. So once an endermite spawns, if it's on one side of the rail tracks that you put in there, it actually won't be able to move across them. That's kind of cool. We need to get this thing inside of a minecart, and we need to name this thing. First things first, to name this thing, named name tag. Name doesn't matter at all. Joe, subscribe. I mean, they're both cool, but I think I like that one. We'll go ahead and eat, then jump back down into this thing and name the endermite. Now we need to carefully move this thing into the minecart. This could be dangerous if you don't have armor. To move the endermite into the minecart, we basically need to get this thing in the path of the minecart. That could be a little bit tricky. If you're able to get the endermite kind of on the rails, though, that's basically all you need. Having extra rails and honestly just kind of spam placing them all over this place can definitely help this process. Once you have your endermite name tagged and inside of the minecart, go ahead and remove the rails other than the middle rail. We need to get the endermite sitting on that middle block. We go ahead and push that into position right there, place those extra blocks, place another block right there, and then place another block right there. The one in the middle is going to stay forever. These other ones, they can actually go. Before you deconstruct all of this though, place a carpet and a carpet right there. A double carpet up top will stop Enderman from spawning on top of this thing. And then it's back to the removing from me. All of these blocks can go away now, except for the block that the minecart is sitting on top of. Definitely don't destroy that block. Okay, so great news. Once you've got the endermite successfully inside of the minecart, you are like basically done. Everything else from this point on is insanely simple. First things first, trapdoors. The Endermen don't know that an open trapdoor is not a walkable block, and they'll try and walk across this block to try and get the Endermite. We're going to go ahead and place trapdoors on every single side, and then go ahead and open those trapdoors. If the trapdoors were left closed or like that, you know, the Enderman will walk right over and damage the Endermite. That's not good. With them open, this thing will be safe forever. After I do that, it's time to fill this platform in. All you're going to need to do is connect these 16 block long segments to each other. Make a perfect square in here. This square, when you're done, is going to be 33 by 33. Now look, I realize that's going to be a lot of blocks. It's a lot of building blocks for sure, but compared to other Enderman farms that you can make, this is like the cheapest possible Enderman farm that is decently efficient as well. A simple compromise. A lot of building blocks, but free ender pearls forever? I mean, I don't think I mind. Anyways, go ahead and fill this platform in all the way. I'll be right back. It'll definitely take you a little bit of time, but eventually, with enough patience, you will have your platform fully filled in, 33 by 33. Now, for now, we need to get back down off of this thing. To get down off of this thing, elytra is my biggest recommendation, but if you don't have that, maybe ender pearls is not a bad idea. If you have extra ones, just pearl down here. We need to set up the item collection system. This item collection system needs to be centered underneath the farm. Lucky for us, we never got rid of this pillar right here, so centered underneath the farm, that's very easy. To begin, we're going to go ahead and place an observer looking down. Right above that observer, we're going to place a note block. Now we need to place another observer looking up. To get this observer looking up, I recommend having an extra trapdoor. Go ahead and place an extra trapdoor against where you want to put this thing, hit the trapdoor, crawl underneath this thing, and try to place the observer looking up. Now, this could be a little bit touchy. Eventually, you should be able to get it. You need to not be on that block, but yikes. But it is doable. It is definitely doable. There we go. We have the observer placed. We know what's working. If we go ahead and remove this, and obnoxious. This is going to be really annoying. Now, there are many different ways that you could technically set up an item collection system. This is simply the cheapest way, but if you don't have access to an LA, then you could just do a bunch of hoppers on the ground. If you're going the hopper route, I recommend setting up at least a 5x5 ring of hoppers. So one extra row, add this to it, get rid of these blocks right there, do a hopper in the middle, have it all go into a chest. If you are by chance at the point in the game where you do have an LA though, go ahead and bring that LA with you over to the nether, give it an ender pearl. With this annoying note block machine set up right there, ringing constantly, and an ally nearby holding an ender pearl, the ally will fly around and pick up any ender pearls that don't land inside of the hopper. Some will automatically be picked up by these hoppers though. Now, after you've set this up, if you'd like, you can go ahead and remove this long, ugly pillar connecting this farm almost to the ground, or you can go ahead and leave it. It doesn't really matter. Won't make a difference. Back up on top, depending on what spawns are like inside of your nether, this farm might actually already be running. Now, funnily enough, we're actually basically done with the farm. The build itself is fully finished. All we need to talk about is AFK. There are many different spots you could set your AFK platform up for this farm. In my opinion, the best possible spot is going to be directly above this farm, 50 or so blocks. So directly above, go ahead and make your way back over to above the endermite block and then start building up all the way to about Y230 or so. The reason we go all the way up to Y230 is because we isolate ourselves from the lower nether. If we can get farther away from the lower nether, then the rates of this farm should in theory be better, and that is definitely going to be the case. Up here, I like the idea of an AFK platform made out of glass so we can stand down here and watch this farm run. As you can see, this thing is working already. The endermen are spawning, immediately running over to get that endermite, and then falling. As soon as they fall, they're taken out. That's it. That's the entire farm. Go ahead and set your AFK platform up maybe a little bit higher if you're having difficulty with the rates. Also, make sure it's safe. Definitely set it up so you don't accidentally walk off the side of this thing or something. When it comes to blocking spawns on the AFK platform, you really shouldn't have to worry about it too much because when you're AFK, you're up here, and as long as the platform is small, mobs won't spawn up here. A way up and down to the AFK platform, I mean, elytra, again, it's easiest, but if you don't have an elytra, build a bridge or something and then do a ladder. Like, for example, if you're building a bridge, maybe build it on, like, half slabs right there, so enderman won't spawn on there while you're AFK right there, slowing down the rates, but, yeah, that's it. With a tiny bit of time, and essentially, like, 18 stacks of building blocks, a couple more supplies, that's it, you have yourself a fully automatic, efficient Enderman farm. AFK at this farm for a little while, and sooner rather than later, you'll be able to confidently say that you will never run out of enderpearls again. If you have any questions, definitely go ahead and drop those questions down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Another great place to go when it comes to troubleshooting farms is my subreddit, r/waddles. The community is amazing over there, super smart, and very helpful. If you enjoyed this tutorial, if you built this farm in your world and it helped you out, definitely remember to leave a like on this video. Leaving a like on this video is so easy to do, and it helps me out huge time. And huge thank you to my patrons, Bill Geek, Medical Boomstick, and Swoopy Louvers. Your support helps me design farms like these. End card is the tutorial playlist. Check it out. I recommend the Skulk farm build after this one. Thanks for watching. It's me, Waddles. Goodbye, everyone.